So imagine you're a surfer, you're on your board, and you watch this come in. Or you're at the marina or just hanging out on the beach and you see this.
This is when a boat showed up here at the pier and people just started unloading, lots of them. It's suspected that these people were coming into the country illegally on that boat. The Orange County Sheriff's Department tells us it happened April 20th. It was right around the noon hour. It was a Saturday. They say before the boat came in, they actually got a call about a low riding vessel indicating that it may have been a boat that was overloaded with too many people on it. But by the time they got here, the only thing left was the boat. All the people were gone. Where did they go? Well, we talked to one neighbor who caught the tail end of it.
They've got tennis courts right down the street here. We heard the cars were parked behind the tennis court. When the boat arrived, they all came in front and picked everybody up and took off.
Did you see that part when they were getting in the cars?
At the tail end.
Tell me what you saw there.
I just saw a van pulling up and people jump in and away it went.
This also happened just about 5 days earlier to that in Carlsbad. This video is from Carlsbad, less than a week before the incident here in Newport Beach. This happened in Carlsbad, very similar incident. And that incident was reported that as the boat came in, it almost hit a surfer. Now, as you mentioned at the top, we hear that this is happening more often. According to some data put up by Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes from U.S. officials, that data shows that the amount of these kinds of incidents over the last few years has more than doubled, from 308 a few years ago to 736 last year. Here in Orange County, though, it's kind of an opposite trend. Over the last few years, the numbers have gone down. Still, Sheriff Barnes and some others calling for some changes to state laws. There's also some calls for changes to federal laws to give law enforcement officers more tools to go after this kind of activity. For now.
So in that second clip, when the boat comes in, just maybe it's the third clip, the boat comes into shore and going past the surfer, that's our surfer dude with the camera in the water. I mean, he's just like, whoa, look at this boat go by. Hey, they're jumping up. Hey, they're not even taking the boat back out. They're just ditch and go, right? Crazy. You've got a bunch of things going on that's creating more pressure on San Diego and basically the California border, as the illegal immigration has been, it's been slowed down at the southern border at Texas and Mexico. More and more pressure being put on California further west because of that. This is one of those issues. Let's get into it. Let's read today's story. California beaches experience surge in illegal immigration. Not shocking. We've been talking about this for a while. Illegal migrants are increasingly turning towards California's beaches as a pathway to enter the U.S., the Wall Street Journal reported on Saturday. While illegal migrant crossings at the U.S. Mexico border have surged under the Biden administration, the number of successful and failed attempts to enter via boat in California has also jumped from 308 in fiscal year 2020 to 736 in fiscal year 2023, according to the Wall Street Journal. This is cited from Customs and Border Protection, our handy federal government at work. Most of the migrants come through the San Diego area, but many have made their way north to Santa Barbara County. The big concern for us is that we have absolutely no idea who these people are. San Diego County Supervisor Jim Desmond told the Wall Street Journal, "We have no idea what they are doing. They're ghosts." Now, what we've seen in a couple of these is you see people just getting rushed off in cars. I mean, they've got the hookup, right? They get brought in by boat. They ditch on shore. They rush up to a city street to get access to another area, and then they hop in a car and they're gone. How that varies so much from what we're seeing at the southern border is that these people don't want to get caught. There's a reason they don't want to get caught by Customs and Border Protection, right? So they got something going on. There's something in their background. They've got a mission to get into the U.S. and not be identified, because otherwise they just roll on up on the beach, then find their nearest Customs and Border Protection officer and say, "I'm here to turn myself in. Can you point me towards the nearest migrant center? Better yet, could you take me yourself in your federal rig? Could you just take me? Could you just take me to wherever I need to go?" Be my Uber driver, Mr. Federal Employee. So you've got a situation here with these folks. They're booking it out of town. I mean, they've got places to go, right? They're not hanging around to see if somebody will, get them where they need to go. They're just boom in, and they're increasingly coming in to California. So yeah, here's another story we've got going on. A new rule aims to speed up the removal of a limited group of migrants who don't qualify for asylum. Now, what this means is that normally they come into the country, they give their identification, they go through a hearing, but it takes years and years and years to finally get to that point where government can make the determination. This guy stays, that woman goes, this guy goes, that kind of thing. And so Biden, under public pressure, he's still thinking about his executive order. What am I going to do executive order wise to make it appear that I'm tougher on immigration? This is not this rule that he's coming up with. This is not the executive action we've been talking about, but this is something new to speed up that process of, okay, if you're illegal and you've come into the country and you don't qualify, out you go. Out you go. But bottom line on this ruling here is that it affects such a very small, limited number of people that it's like, I think this article says, it's too little, too late. You're a day late, dollar short. What you're trying to do here in the last XYZ months of your administration is come up with a rule that you can point to and say, you see, I really tried on the whole immigration thing too. And look, numbers are way down. Numbers are way down because Mexico is helping us out, if there is such a thing. And then in Texas, they're pushing everybody out to the west, and that's had an impact on the numbers coming through. But in my opinion, it's mainly the folks who in Mexico are basically holding all these migrants back so that the numbers don't look quite so bad for Biden. That's my opinion heading into an election. So we've talked about, we don't know who these people are, and yet they're running into the country, and increasingly they're coming in on shore in these boats. How about that comment that said, hey, we got a lowrider boat coming in, got a lowrider, wonder why it's riding so low. A lot of fuel? No. Illegal stowaways, right? Illegals. Yeah. So federal agents have already mounted over 220,000 arrests in San Diego area since October 1st. As well as nearly 8,000 for illegal entry into the U.S. by sea since 2020, according to the Wall Street Journal. Calling what the federal agents do arrests, that is such a strong word. They're not arresting anybody. You know what I mean? You're merely walking through this process. Oh, yeah, we arrested him. Yeah, but, most of the time when you arrest somebody, do you take him to the nearest shelter that's going to help him? No, you take him to jail. Yeah, we're not doing that. It doesn't really count as arrests. You might count it as that, but this ain't arresting people. Rafael Fernandez de Castro, director of the Center for U.S. Mexican Studies at the University of California, San Diego, told the outlet that most of the migrants smuggled into the U.S. by boat are likely Mexicans who had previously been deported or have a criminal history. Oh, that's comforting. Good to know, right? All right. Yeah, they've been thrown out before. They got something in their background that doesn't really allow them to stay in the United States. So, hey, let's take advantage of the fact that we got a wide open southern border and let's get ourselves in there. All right, it's go time. They risk that if they are seen by police, they will immediately be thrown out or even serve some time in jail. Oh, come on. This is California. Nobody's doing any time in jail for anything. Come on now. You're pulling my leg. I know you are. Desmond argued that the blue state is laying out the red carpet and welcome mat for illegal immigrants to cross the border, citing a 2017 law that limits when local officers can cooperate with federal immigration partners, the outlet reported. These blue states are so bad. This is so bad. So bad, huh? Yeah, we don't really want to work with Customs and Border Protection because they might actually deport somebody. We can't have that. That's horrible and terrible. No, it's called enforcing federal law that is already on the books. The whole deal with Biden coming up with more, executive action to slow down the southern border crossings is ridiculous because all he needed to do was enforce the law, was on the books already, and not do the 64 executive actions he has done since he took office, which just basically unwound all of the previous, unwound all of what Trump did. Yeah, he's unwound all of that. Oh no. Now we're going to get to some executive action. Really going to get in there. If only I had the money to work on the southern border. It's like, no, you had all the tools in your toolbox before. You just didn't take any out. In fact, you did take them out, but then you threw them out as tools and you worked the whole executive order thing. And now we've got just a whole bunch of situations where people have been coming in willy-nilly doing their shenanigans. And this is where we sit. A spokesperson for Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom countered that localities may still work with federal authorities relating to serious criminals. He said, here's where we want to straddle both lines, and told the Wall Street Journal that Congress should pass border security legislation and asylum reform. Yeah, maybe they should just enforce the rules that are already on the books. How about that? How about we start with that there, gruesome Newsom? Because this whole notion of, what about that $118 billion plan we had that the Republicans just said no on? I guess they don't really want to keep the country secure. No, because that was a terrible deal. That was straight up a terrible deal. That normalized an incredible amount of illegals coming into the country on an annual basis. We don't want that. We don't want that. Follow the rules, enforce the rules, incarcerate people that need to be incarcerated, toss the people out that need to be tossed out. And, this is exactly what Texas is doing already. Texas has already undertaken this. But California is just going to get a massive push and pressure because they still have that red carpet out. Oh, yeah, sanctuary state. You betcha. We'll take them. Well, when you know that they are, they've been tossed out before and there's a high probability they have a criminal background, maybe, just maybe you want to kind of rework that thinking. Maybe, just maybe you want to reimagine and you want to rethink and maybe you want to come up with some root causes of, all this ridiculousness. Some of the boat smuggling attempts have been captured on video and posted to social media, showing migrants fleeing to awaiting vehicles, according to the outlet. It's becoming more obvious that they don't care if they are seen. Britt Mayer, an independent journalist who covers the issue in San Diego, told the Wall Street Journal. What I would say is that, yeah, they do not care. Because otherwise they come in at night, right? Under cover of night. Yeah. You don't want to run a boat at night. It would loaded down with a whole bunch of people. Not ideal. It's tough navigating a boat because you know what? You don't have street lights and you don't want to come in with a big light on your boat announcing, hey, I'm here. Got a bunch of illegals. Could you check me out? No. So they're doing what they know is going to work, which is just driving their boat in, leaving it at the dock, leaving it at the beach, leaving it wherever and just going. And it's also interesting to note that these are people coming from Mexico. So these are not Central America or Southern American country folks coming in. They are Mexicans who should not be here. That is the huge difference. So don't get the notion that, but they're just the poor illegal immigrants coming in. Because otherwise they just, waltz off the beach and, hey, somebody take me to Chicago. All right. Who's going to take me to Denver? Where are we going in Denver? Did you guys see the illegals in Denver had a laundry list of, I don't know, is it 13 or 14 things that unless they get these 13 or 14 demands, they're not going to take down their homeless encampments, their tents that they're just, stacked up in at various areas throughout Denver. I mean, it's just, if you're a sanctuary city, or if you are in a sanctuary city, a sanctuary state, you've seen, how this is going. Seattle, we've got this ridiculous back and forth between this group of, I don't know if it's a couple hundred illegals that have been living in a church environment. And then they went up to the Seattle City Council meeting. They interrupted that. It's this whole group. And then they went back to a hotel, the Quality Inn in Kent. And then they went back to Powell Park in the U District in Seattle. Now they're going back to a hotel. Then the hotel said, nope, we need 2 months of fees up front, which I do not blame them at all. And the city of Seattle said, we're never dealing with that guy ever again. Just this entire mess. And you're just ricocheting people back and forth. But this is what happens. These are the shenanigans. This is the chaos that happens when you open yourself up to just taking a whole bunch of people in, but you don't know who they are. And it's like Denver. They've got the hotline. They've got the taxpayer hotline that basically says, okay, call this number. And if you want to take a bunch of illegals in, you can take them right into your house with you. All right. You got any 18-year-old girls in there? I mean, I'll take a few. You know what I mean? It's just like, what? This is what we're doing. I mean, you can see a small minority of people who have good intentions. Oh, I just really want to take care of the illegals. But then there's other people like, oh, hey, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, who might be coming to stay at my house? Right? Just some perverts. Or hey, do they clean? Can they cook? Can they clean? You betcha. All right. Here's my address. Send them on over. I'll take care of them. You know what I mean? Right? Hey, you're going to see a bunch of this. You always do. You always do. Anytime people are going to game the system, but hey, it's okay. Just set up that hotline. And I'm sure that'll just be a red hot hotline, and you see all those, the TV programs you used to have in the past where they had all the people that were working the phones. Then you'd call up and you'd get to say something, maybe you bought something or, you're doing something fundraiser wise. And you've got all these, oh my gosh, it's so busy. This is such a busy fundraising. It's like that hotline. Oh, wow. I mean, people are just calling in left and right. Give me a couple of illegals down here. I'm on B Street in downtown. All right, pronto, send them up. We've got stuff for them to do. Just crazy that this is kind of how we're handling something that should be handled at the border in an orderly manner where we know who's coming in. Just a little bit of order would be good, right? Instead of just, let's just beach it in San Diego. Let's beach it in Carlsbad. Let's just beach it. We'll leave the boat because we stole it. Yeah, just more shenanigans at the southern border. What does it look like moving forward? I think much of the same. This isn't going to slow down. It's not going to go away. And just because so many of the comments that I hear from you guys are on the whole Texas thing. Yeah, it might have slowed it down in Texas, but yeah, California, they're going to be hosed. And nobody ever really talks about New Mexico, right? Nobody ever talks about Arizona. A little bit, right? A little bit. Everybody's like, nah, they're just going straight to Cali. That's because I think Cali is it's a known quantity and you've got a system there. Whereas Arizona, yeah, you've got that as well. But I think everything is just kind of shifting up to California because California is, who doesn't want to go to California? Whereas Arizona, okay, yeah. And then 600 miles north to Denver. All right. But hey, who doesn't want to start off their journey in California? Absolutely crazy. So I would expect to see more and more of this. And as the numbers start to come in for, we're in late spring season now. This past weekend here in Seattle, we had some 80-degree weather. I mean, like May 11th, and it was 80 degrees. Climate change, right? Climate change. I mean, the whole world's just changing. It's all getting hotter by the minute. I don't think so. It's just an early spring day. And in Seattle, that happens. We go out on the boat. Yeah, because it's not going to be that way forever. But as we have better and better weather, the illegal immigrant numbers tend to spike up as well. So it'll be really interesting to see. All right, they're going to avoid Texas. Are they going to avoid Arizona? Arizona lets people in willy-nilly too, right? In California, they're not pushing. I shouldn't say willy-nilly, but they're not pushing back. And California is definitely not pushing back. They just say, yeah, come to Cali. It's all great. It's all good here. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.